Good evening. Hello, hello. Right, just in time. Welcome. We already got some resubs coming in now. First of all, let me replay. I'm not hearing anything. Hang on. Hold on. Give me a second. Now I am. Here's Reynolds. Reynolds, wie geht's dir? Yeah, almost been to the North Pole. Reynolds, I hope you're doing well. You're having a great weekend.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the 103 months of support.
Hello, Captain. Welcome back from the almost North Pole BB 711 Bulavlal.
It felt like it. It was cold and lots of snow. Reynolds, you're doing well. That's good to hear. Reynolds, next week sometime, yeah, we can have a look for another group flight for sure. And then next up was Lilo. Fly Lilo as well for 34 months. Thank you so much, Lilo, as well. I hope you're doing well, and thanks for all the help. Luke, hello. Let's see. And we've got Max Chester in the house. So we're flying to Salzburg. This is an event today. What was it called again? Salzburg Charter Saturday, it's called. So we should get nice lots of traffic and some great control there with the Austrian controllers. And Manchester said we'll hear him on the outbound leg. Fantastic. Mark, hello to you as well.
Could new subscribers
and I hope you're all doing well. Flugzeit,
where complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium flight entertainment will be served.
Thank you much. Flugzeit as well to you. And I did get your message on Discord. Thank you so much. And I will try to reply tomorrow. It's been a very busy day for me. So for one, we did another recording. We made another meal today. It was chicken, a fried chicken with pak choy, or bok choy, I think it's called. And my wife decided that she wanted to clean the oven and said, oh, you can just simply take out the oven door, no problem at all. And so we almost destroyed the 1,500 euro oven today because it wasn't easy. And you know me, I'm the most patient person in the world. I have perfect abilities when it comes to handcrafting things, right? So you had the worst combination you could ever have in a household to dismantle a oven door, which has not just a open and close function, it also has a stow function. And it's a amazingly complicated, apparatus to get everything working, the hinge and everything. But we only found it out after the door was dismantled, and getting it back on correctly, I almost had a complete meltdown. And I don't have that often, but today I almost had a complete meltdown. I was swearing. My wife was looking at me like, oh, she hasn't heard me swearing that badly for Mark. I said to her, why don't we call a professional? She says, it's weekend and I need to bake bread tomorrow. I said, yeah, great timing. Why did we do it today, right? Yes, Brennelt, as always, Brennelt, perfect manual, right? You know, even with a magnifying glass, you can't possibly see all the details, which little levers you have to put into what position, which locks you have to open, which feathers you have to, whatever. It is crazy, man. So yeah, I've been busy today, but we did manage to get it back together again. So I think for that I deserve. Yeah, I do. I honestly do. Oh no, Avenger. Oh, well, if we had made a video of this, duct tape, Reynolds. I would have loved to have some duct tape. Just to have it completely sealed, closed, shut forever. But no, we managed. We got the door back installed, and yeah, just some minor bruises with the hands. Nothing terribly bad. I've still got 10 fingers.
Welcome aboard the Captain.
So we get to fly today.
Subscriber experience. Could new subscribers please make
and
your way
QB,
to
thank you so much
cabin,
for the 17 months.
Snacks and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, hope your trip was nice.
It was.
Excited for the new add-on showcase.
Thank you much, QB, for the 17. And yeah, the trip was amazing. I actually made a video. The thing is, though, it's not really edited well. I just put it together, all the pictures and video sequences for my family. I may work on it a little bit more. It's 45 minutes long because everything was just so beautiful. But anyways, exactly. So you're hinting at a new add-on, and you can see it here. It's called Real Ops. So, I mean, they weren't allowed to call it GSX, right? So it's called Real Ops. It pretty much does what GSX does. I mean, maybe not as extensive, but it's got lots of animations. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mark, you know, multi-million-dollar aircraft, engine failure, no sweat. But oven door, that's it. I told my wife, I said, I'm never ever gonna dismantle that door ever again. Next time, get a professional. Yeah, she accepted. So, Brenold, I can send you the link, Brenold, if you like. At the moment, it's not listed, so but we'll see. Yeah. All right. Yeah, McChester, we searched for YouTube videos for the oven as well, but you know, it's always funny to see. Like it's like if I showcase an engine failure without really doing, you know, explaining much. So I'll just go bam, 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 read a checklist, easy, right? But you know, for anyone that's not a professional, you don't know what I'm doing really, right? So same thing. You have these professionals dismantling, you know, the door and then putting it back together again. And I'm like, yeah, you know, make sense to you, but I didn't really see what exactly you did, you know, where the little, you know, bolts are. And anyways, let's breathe. Let's do some deep breaths. Exhale. And now we're calm. And yeah, so real ops today. Airbus, well, we'll see. It's about an hour flight time to Salzburg. We'll turn around as quickly as we can, and then we'll fly to Dortmund. Anyways, we've got a flight plan. We have filed the flight plan. Now, one thing I have to do, though, is I have to get online to VATSIM. Let's get XPilot running. Ghost, I'm not sure. We'll have a look at the weather forecast. When I made the flight plan this afternoon, they had something, they mentioned something with gusty winds from the north, but it's only prop 30, so I'm not sure what they are using right now. But we'll definitely see. Just looking at my call sign real quickly, we called Eurowings 63 uniform. And it's an A320 Neo. Oops. Neo, there it is. And we are using LEAP engines. So the Delta Alpha Echo November Alpha apparently has LEAP engines, IRL. And so that's what we'll use. And I have the BSS sound mod installed as well. So I actually had a test this afternoon that sounded very nice. Very nice. 160 at 7, it's probably going to be ILS, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just do real ops and whatever approach clearance we get, we're going to fly the approach. And apparently not. I mean, I checked online. Maybe if someone tells me that I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it should be. Yeah, it should be LEAP engines. But we'll see. Good. Now, one thing though, and I'm a bit surprised again regarding performance. So this afternoon I checked in Salzburg with the latest updated scenery there for XP12. Everything's running smoothly. Now I have a feeling the moment that I switch on lights, performance goes down. But the thing is, I'm currently on daytime. And we're going to switch on the battery real quickly, trying to get the clock to work.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Twitch channel subscriber experience. Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin?
Emmanuel, thank you so much. Gearbox 747, thank you much for the 29 months. Really kind. Thank you so much for the support. Brennell, that was the ADF, I think, or ILS. Yeah, the marker beacon here. So that was the marker beacon. I'm not sure why. It was on. Let's see. I'm gonna just dial down the absolute master volume. And then
good evening, smile.
Ambience systems. Ah, there we go. Yeah. So that's the ventilation. Yeah. That's why I'm dialing it down. Yep. Yeah, I saw that. And Felix Socht, hello. Thanks for 32 months. Long time. Thank you much as well. Good evening to you. Good. As always, yeah, if you find any sounds too loud, too quiet, let me know. I will try to fix it. And then we'll see. Okay, cool. Now, next thing to do is we need to make sure that animated baggage loaders is off on the Toliss. And then we have, what time was it? It was 11:12 UTC. And why is it so dark here in the sim? The marker sound was too quiet. Yeah, for sure. Good. So what we're going to do, we're going to go get catering. We'll get lavatory service, refueling. We'll load the cargo. Hang on, what's this? Oh, there's no cargo. Why is there no cargo? Hang on, let's do some cargo, shall we? Let's do 1,000 kilograms there and aft cargo 700 there. Load cargo and then boarding. And then we'll start the service. And let's see how it goes. And I assume that I'm going to have to open some doors manually for the loading. Outside sound right now, hang on. There is. It's just that these sounds would dial down a bit. Hang on. Hold on. External master. Yeah. Well, right now there's no APU. There's no other traffic, so it is. Hey, Lula Pilots. How does it integrate with SimBrief? You put your SimBrief ID into the settings here. Real ops, settings and liveries. You can choose some different liveries. And then insert your SimBrief ID, and that's it. You can then download the SimBrief plan. Right, let me open the doors here. And then we're going to go, I want to open door 1 left. I want to open door 2 left. I want to open 2 right and 1 right for the catering. And we'll do all the cargo doors open. And now you can hear the sounds, Brennelt. Where's my landing gear? There we go. And why am I not, hang on. Keyboard, joystick. Great. It didn't register my controller. Now I have to reset the USB port, which means I've got to climb out of my cockpit into the electronic compartment to get that running. But it's important. I have to get my controller running. Give me a second. So now we're back. And what does it want from me? Gamepad, axis, pitch. Yaw, no. Nope. Right, roll, no. Throttle, no. So. There we go. Yeah, the high-pitched sound, that was the yellow yellow EDDK pump, exactly, Reynold, yeah. Exactly that. Oh, come on. I did set that. Ah, like, hang on. What is going on? You gotta love it. So that's that. That's that. Nothing. So do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. Okay, that's done. So now that's good. And then lastly, I need to set the outside external landing gear is 44. And right engine is 40. So we'll do this camera 44. Almost finished, guys. 44. And then this one we'll do 40 for the engine start, because that's very important for the sounds later on. Now I'm happy. What's this? So this is 45. So that's 45, 41. I had it all set. So I am honestly at a loss why it has reset everything there. So annoying sometimes. Alrighty. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. And then, yeah, these are set. Fantastic. No, so what happens is that as you open the door, it will kind of lock into position there. And on the bottom, below the fuselage, where the control panel is for the cargo door operation, you have a green light, which tells you then that it's locked. So it's a pretty fail-safe system. Hey, Pilot 19, hello. I don't think so, Nate. We can have a look later. I didn't see the passengers in the aircraft itself. I doubt it, but we'll check. So let's close these right-hand doors as catering is completed. Fueling is ongoing. Okay. All right. We'll see. Let me just quickly get the overhead panel set up to get going, and then we'll leave the strobe lights off because we're on VATSIM. Seatbelts on. Even has some passenger sounds. It's loud, isn't it? System sounds, you know, this one. Okay, volume. People. Let's get people down a bit. Ambulance. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe someone knows which setting here it is for the warning sounds. Because it only says system sounds, nothing else. Cool. Rightio. That looks all fun. What's the flap lever doing? Who's playing around with my flap lever? Find out now. Don't touch that. Right. Anyhow, so we're gonna go MCDU, ATSU, AOC menu, flight init. Yeah, pesky FOs again. Test. Ghost, how are you doing? So we had the flight plan uplink, fantastic. Let's try to get a departure 80s as well. So, uplink has worked, 6-3 uniform. Let's get the wind uplink while we're here. Oh, they're boarding already. Blimey, that's quick. Hang on. Ah, already boarding. Okay. And we can see baggage loading. Okay, nice. Yeah. Not sure why it's still fueling though. Haven't we finished fueling yet? Oh, it's defueling. Ah, okay. That explains it. Right, you wanted to see if the passenger's actually visible here in the flight deck, right? Let's have a look here. Can we open the door? So unlock. No. Oh, hang on. Ah, okay. So they disappear once they're on board here. Ah. I guess it's there to save FPS performance, because we know X-Plane still isn't the best for performance, right? Where's the click spot now? Can't find the click spot. Cool. Right. So, shall we try to get the PDC? No, because we don't have control here. Let's have a quick look here. That's some radar. See if there's anybody responsible for this sector down here. Nope. No control here in Cologne. Okay, so at least we checked that. That's good. Which means we'll do pretty much what we planned for regarding... what was my setting for Habitat? Habitat. Keyboard. Habitat. Shift A. Okay, Shift A. And let's try to expand that a bit. Charts. And we're doing Echo Delta Delta Kilo to Salzburg. There it is. So we are going to depart, I guess 3-1 right, because the wind here is 260 at 10. And Fipspilo, hello. 260 at 10. Yeah, 3-1 right is the way to go. So we'll take 3-1 right. Altimeter is 1020, so at least the wind control hardware works, which is great. 10 degrees, 1020, and a bit windier tomorrow. Today, nothing really bad. Salzburg, 80 at 3. Light drizzle, few 200. Scattered 2600. Broken 3000, 4 degrees. The forecast, light rain all the time till tomorrow morning. And then temporary wind, 270 at 10. But I guess that didn't come through. Well, 2.4, Jacob, it doesn't really help us with the taxi time. And so 2.4 is more for the landing, not for the takeoff. So what you can do is do intersection takeoff, runway 31 right, which does save some taxi time. But we'll do that in a second. Vienna as the alternate is also okay. Nothing major, so no threats there, so we're good to go. Alrighty, then what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and plan the departure. So we're going to take 31 right with the Kumik departure. Kumik 1 Romeo. Insert. So then we have the routing Lima 603, Teska, Charlie, it's course 132 direct Esati, direct Borep. And then we're already into the descent, Armut, Tifta, Lula, Arbak, Susemi, and so on. And then Badit. And from Badit, we will do the arrival RLS 15 to Romeo and approach via probably Salzburg. Then what we'll do, we'll have a look here. We'll actually call that up, which is nice. So what we'll do is go to plan mode. And then we'll scroll down. There it is. Yeah, pretty much a straight in. No discontinuities in there, so that's all good. Fantastic. Missed approach. Looking fine. Oh, they finished boarding. Right, that's fast today. We'll be flying over Drachenfels. Honestly, well, I'm sure we got some Austrians here. Not Australians, but Austrians that will tell us where the Drachenfels is. And then we can check it out. Alrighty, I'll tell you what then, let's start the APU. But first of all, let me check fuel data real quickly. And the fuel is 5.7. Okay, Brennan says you won't see that on departure. Okay. Alright, let's get some APU bleed on. And let's listen to the pack system startup, shall we? Nice sounds. Extra fuel today, guys. So flight time, by the way, is 52 minutes, not very long. And 5.4 plus 200 taxi gives us the 5.6 that we have in our tanks. And we have extra half an hour. Because I don't know how much delay we may get if we get holding or not. So we might as well be prepared. Balanced fuel, fantastic. Happy with that. And then do all that. Looking good. GPS primary. That is fine. So we got the init A page. B page fills up automatically here. The altered fuel is 1.2 tons. So almost correct here. So 1.2. So here we got extra time. It's nice to see a value finally that is close to what we have in the flight plan. So that's nice. Takeoff weight will be at 66.5. So it's, yep, exactly as we have on the flight plan there. Although I need to check the loading though, because we may be a bit heavier. Let's have a look. No, we're fine. All good. So takeoff weight 66.5. Fantastic. Hey, Pushback, big hits. I hope you're doing good. Cool. Cologne, right runway, correct? So that should be fine. Temperature 11. No need for engine anti-ice, I would say. Let's do that there. Dry. Anti-ice off. Takeoff weight is fine. Let's take 66.5, shall we? Or? Yeah, 65. CG 20.5. We do flex. Config automatic. Air conditioning off. However, we are going to do an intersection takeoff, and now the question is, how much distance we have, or how much displaced threshold that is. So let me get the airport chart out. So my idea would be to taxi out via Alpha. That's not me. So Alpha, and we'll take Alpha 2. Okay. The only thing is, now the question is, do we have to do this according to the displacement? Or
you're on guard. You're on guard. 115.
not me though.
Transmitting on guard. 121.
It's like in real life. Somebody they're going transmitting on guard. On guard. Oh man, I've heard that before. Good. So we got runway 31 right. Alpha 2, that's 2562. So let's have a look here. Intersection 2562. If we enter that. Yeah. Hang on. No, hang on, that's what did I do? So maybe this is shift. Let's see. So shift would be 1,243. 1243, right? So let's do that. 1243. Enter. Ah, now it's correct. 53? Okay. Let's see. Ah, now we get some good values there. Hey, Jacob, thanks. Oh, it dropped by 3 hectopascal Avimar. How long did you wait on the ground? 3 hours? Or is a really hefty low pressure area moving in? But 3 hectopascals? Very unlikely. Right, there we go. I believe you, don't worry. So we've got flex 74 still. Yeah, if there's a storm moving around, it could be. If we take the lower V1, it means that we have 700 meter stop margin. If we take the upper V1, 147, we only have 146 meters. So, I mean, we'll take something in between. Let's take 138 or something, right? So we'll do 138, 47, 49. So it's going to be 1 plus F. Actually, let's do this here. So we'll do 1, and its trim is up 0.4. Temperature was 74. And then we've got, so we set 138 around about 400 meter stop margin is fine. 147, 149, transition 5000. I do assume it's going to be EDDK 2, but let me check. So, yeah, it's EDDK 2, 1310 and 1310. And the engine out acceleration 3-1 right is 1900. Hmm. 1900, okay. And engine out procedure says at 4 miles KBO right turn to Wipper. So let's first of all go copy active. Quick return to Cologne if need be. We're gonna fly the ILS 3-1 right. Actually, we'll do the ILS 2-4 actually. No star. Wow, it's taken a long time to synchronize the pages here for me. So no star, no via. And then for the fix info, it's going to be Cologne 3-1 right. Then we have a radius outbound of 314 degrees. That's that. Then we go to 4 miles KBO. Cologne Bonn. VORDME, KBO 4 miles. There it is. That's the circle there. And then we go right turn to Wipper. That's also a VOR. So if I go this way, there it is. So runway track to 4 miles KBO, right turn Wipper is the engine up procedure. If we have to do that. Just realized I have to put this up really bright to see that on my Windwing FCU. Okay. Good. And this is from the aircraft, Aviomar. It's a bit loud, isn't it? But it could be the sound mod that I'm using. So let's do departure. It was the Kumir 1 Romeo, this one here. So 3-1 right. And then the text says initial climb clearance 5,000. So 5,000 it is. And then the coding is Delta Kilo 041 overfly. Then we have also max speed to 10. We need 700 feet at least. Then Delta Kilo 035, 210 maximum, okay. Then Delta Kilo 031, 5,000 or above, correct. Delta Kilo 038, not needed probably. Let's see, 038. Hang on, what's happening? Oh, there it is. Delta Kilo 038. Flight level 70 above is fine. And then we got Hordip and Kumik. That is all correctly programmed. Now for the RATNAV, let me put in KBO, left side, and Wipper for the engine out, right hand side. And there we go. It's shown. Fishcop, do you really like those sounds, or is it like, are you pulling my leg again? Hard to tell. Good. Anyways, here we got RNAV 1, GPS or DVI updating required. We currently have GPS updating, which is fine. Remain on tower frequency until passing 2,000 feet. However, there is no radar control above us, so no problem. We'll stay on Unicom. Radar required, etc. 250 below. Excellent. Good. Right, briefing. As I said, the only hotspot is crossing the runway 2406. We plan for intersection Alpha 2. We have entered the takeoff shift, not yet. That was a shift of 1253 meters. Calculations for that intersection were made. Right runway, and departure route is briefed up 5,000 feet. And engine out, straight out, runway track 4 miles kVO, right turn Vipper, acceleration 1900. We're going to climb at least 4,000 feet to remain above the MSA, which is 3,800 feet. And anything else? Special threats? I don't see anything. So that means we can close all the doors. Fantastic. And then
Ground to cockpit. Toliss driving up.
yes. Let's read a checklist. Our first checklist is as follows. Cockpit.
Some doors are still opened or the GPU or the ASU are still connected. I'm waiting for all of them closed and disconnected, then I will proceed.
Okay. External power, let's see, you can take that off. Parking brake is set, so shocks can go off as well. Fantastic. Let's see, is that working?
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Good. Fuel quantity. We did say we have 5,620 kilograms balanced. Seatbelts on. Then we have the ADIRs down here. All enough. GPS is working. Fantastic. The bar ref is 1020. Or was it 21? There we go. So we have Cologne 1021 actually. So 1021 is set 3 times. Checked, checked. And that is the cockpit preparation checklist complete. Beacon is coming on. Fuel pumps coming on. APU bleed is available. That's all done. Fantastic. Squawk 2000. With above. Transponder is on. Transmitting. Fantastic. And then we'll read the before start checklist. Parking brake is set. Takeoff speeds flex 138, 147, 149, flex 74. Windows doors closed. And the beacon is on. That's the before start checklist.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
We'll go the blue line here today.
How connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Hey Fabian, hello, servus. Did it happen that the fuel panel door stayed open? I'm trying to think if I ever had that. Not really. I mean, yes. I mean, we had it because the ramp agent did the outside check, and then he said, "Hey, by the way, your fueling door is still open." Yeah. Then we just had to get a ladder, get it closed. It's a nuisance. It's a bit annoying because you can't reach up on the on these aircraft yourself. So you need something. If I remember correctly, I actually got a baggage card or something. And it's one of those things that I can't really send the FO out because it's not really completely according to procedure, right? Hey Yoda. Either close with airflow or disappear completely. One of those two options, right? So yeah, so I actually closed it myself, and then that was it.
Cameras
But
saved.
very rarely does that happen. Cool.
Starting pushback, and you may start the engines.
Cool. Then we'll listen to the lovely engine sounds, shall we? We'll do that from... Yeah, the LEAP engines, they don't tell you about any cooling cycle like the Pratt & Whitney's, but they do a small cooling cycle. Hey, J. Cruz. So just be aware. Let's start engine 1. Let's listen to the sounds.
On traffic, Ryanair, semi-cold, runway 246 myself.
I apologize for the little lag since that was here. Explain. I don't know what it is. Honestly don't. Yeah, you can see it's still doing a cooling cycle there. Now we get fuel. It's a BSS sound pack. Yeah, and I even dialed down the sounds a bit. Hang on. It sounds very good, yeah. What kind of pushback is that? Right, good engine start on 1. Let's wait for the available. It takes a bit longer than normal. Here it is, avail.
Operation complete. Please set parking brake.
Let's listen.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Oh yeah. The network. Still cooling right now. Still cooling, hang on.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. I'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Yeah, sounds nice. Let's go flaps 1. Cool. Let's do the rest of the items. APU off. Set the trim is going to be up 0.4. Flight controls full up, full down. Control full left, full right. Rudder full left, full right. Neutral. Put that on terrain. All clear was given, so we'll read the after start checklist. Anti-ice off, not required. Then ECAM status checked, all clear. Pitch trim is up 0.4 and rudder trim neutral. That is the after start checklist completed.
Killing 16 key coasting on the what's the link at FSLabs?
Cover traffic, Eurowings 66 uniform taxiing, active runway 31 wide in Cologne. It is 66 uniform, right? No, 6-3 uniform. ECAM MCU software out? Yeah. Yeah. I think it is. Don't ask me. I mean, Bruno would probably know, so one of my moderators here would know what software standard that is, but it's definitely the oldest software standard. Yeah, and regarding the network information on the banner, I don't know how to change that. It always says Volanta.
Cologne traffic area external 16 in crossing runway 24 and taxiing to runway 3 on right. Yeah.
That's a traffic ahead. Fantastic. Does the Toliss have gates? No, it doesn't, does it? Gate calibration for the flaps? I don't think so. Wow, what's happening with the performance? This is the first time I'm using 12.4. I am honestly... I do not know what's wrong with X-Plane. It's just so annoying. FPS. Is it, let's try desync off here. Whoops, what's this? I had to change the frequency of the monitor, but that didn't help either. I've even gone ahead and I deinstalled SimHaven, so I'm not using SimHaven. SimHaven, objects, so like houses, etc., etc. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you can do that via the radio panel. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, I keep forgetting about the Toliss that you can. You can select like here, mechanic, call, and when the doors are open, you can actually you get things like doors closed and ground power connected and so on. Hey, Nero, good morning. Oops, is that what those two things are? Avenger? Hang on, did they hit each other? Ah, it was just a little kiss, okay. But I guess still an expensive kiss they touched. Just gonna stop here before 2406 to get to make sure that we don't have any inbound traffic here. Left side looks good, right side looks okay as well. No more traffic, Eurowing 63 uniforms crossing 0624, taxi 31 right in Cologne. Hey cargo pilot, welcome. Okay, I can switch on the strobes quickly. Yeah, little pilot, I honestly, I don't know. I assume it is the Cologne-Bonn scenery or something around Cologne-Bonn that's causing these FPS drops. So, I mean, I've got 43 FPS, right? It's not brilliant, but it's just not as good as it should be. And usually the Toliss aircraft are actually very good on FPS. They're not that FPS intense. Strange. Anyways, let's get the rest of the items done here. So we'll do all max. Radar PWS is on. This is a config test. Looks good. And then we'll do the taxi checklist. Here's Alpha 2. Flight controls checked. Flap setting config 1+F. Radar PWS is on and auto. Engine mode selector is normal. And ECAM will take off no blue. Then we get TCAS on so we can see the final here. Smooth motion via NVIDIA settings. Okay, I can try later on before we do the second flight. Just a screenshot there for you, quote. Then we'll see. There's nobody inbound. Fantastic. Cologne traffic, Eurowing 63 uniform lining up departing 31 right in Cologne. Good. Have the packs off. TCAS on the TARA. Then we have the lineup checklist. Takeoff runway 31 right, Alpha 2. TCAS TARA and pack 1 and 2 is off. Fantastic. And let's go sterile. Sterile and clock to run. Start the chrono. If you guys are ready, I am ready. Let's go. Let's do this. Takeoff. Unflex 74 SAS from runway. Auto thrust group. Thrust set. still loud for you guys, isn't it? How strange. Flap 0, so we checked. Flap 0. Packs are coming on. It's a lot more roll sensitive than in Microsoft. That's pretty good on stuff. Pilot on here. Maintain 5,000 and we'll climb now. Let's say we want to go up to 390. That's high. Let's go. Thrust climb high and Alpha 390. Oh yeah, cheeky flyby. But it's in the clouds though. Oh, there we go. Can't really see much. Standard. Cross-checked. Strange sound. I am confused about the sounds, honestly. So in my sound mixer, I've put X-plane down to 37%. Plus 9. Come on. Click spot. Okay, love it, fish cup. I mean, the sounds are good, no doubt, but I've got to find a balance for you guys, so that you guys can hear my voice. My first officer forgot the landing lights, not me, as always. Nice. Oh, Lange 27925. What should I? 27.
Cossack, climb flight level A320, Lufthansa 19 Juliet. Radar, very good evening. All Boeing 7 Yankee, flight level 3, Chef Michelle. Airline 7 Yankee, radar contact, hello, David Vedas.
Is ATC okay?
Langen, Top Jet 6 fuel, November, flight level 400. Roger, Airline 7 Yankee, Derek Vedas.
ATC okay, thank you.
Say you? Airline 7 Yankee, proceed, Derek Vedas. Direct Vedas, all Boeing 7 Yankee, good.
Ah.
What's on the first 6, don't want you to. The number for 6 identified, climb flight level 260.
It's still very high the pitch. Langen hallo, die Luft, the Eurowing 63 uniform, passing 125, climbing 390.
Flugzeug Tom Jet 6 Juliet, November, identified.
The other traffic was Eurowing 63 uniform, passing flight level 132, climbing 390.
Boeing 63 uniform, radar contact, hello. Stop climb at flight level 350, squawk 1000.
Stop climb 350 and squawk 1000. Eurowing 63 uniform. So 1000 and 350. Yeah, Luftwings. Been flying too much Lufthansa lately.
Descending flight level 220, Brussels 129.575, Etihad 47 X-ray. Ocean 3 Bonn, contact Langen, Bonn 20.805. 20.805, Ocean 3 Bonn.
Good.
Get on 633, contact Langen, 123, 010.
7 degrees pitch.
123, 010, get on 633, correct.
Seatbelts.
014, contact Brussels.
And then the rest of the items we'll do secondary copy active.
Let's go 5611, contact Langen, 123.010.
I'm going to clear out the fix info. 1.
Let's go 5611, contact Langen, 123.010. Contact 310, 5611, thank you, bye bye.
So secondary.
Boeing 63 uniform, proceed direct Teska.
Direct Teska, Earring 6 uniform, Dankeschön. Direct Teska. Mit beam points. Selected, executed. And then one message for us. Received messages. Let's see. There we go. Oh, bit of turbulence. Oh, we do have. Oh, yeah, I remember now. In X-Plane, we have G-load camera. Time for engine anti-ice, obviously. And seatbelts. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the turbulence, kindly request that you return to your seats, fasten seatbelts. Honestly, right now, there's a couple things I don't like about X-Plane still. And one of the things is performance. It's still not good. Let's put it this way. Especially when you have an airport that maybe is not quite optimized for X-Plane 12. Yeah, and the sceneries that we have, the developers don't really bother too much right now with X-Plane 12, because the majority of money is made in Microsoft Flight Sims, right? And so X-Plane doesn't really receive much love at the moment. Do I remember my very first passenger announcement? Yes, because it was on my way to Ibiza, and yeah, I was very nervous. I was really nervous, and so I was on the FO seat, obviously, and then I had a jump FO with me. So the first couple of rotations that you're doing when you finish flight school and done a type rating, there's a experienced first officer behind you on the jump seat. I mean, back then it was on a 737, and I remember he listened in, and then I guess he was polite, saying it, it was a good announcement. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It just gets better with practice and over time. Pilot lad. I mean, I've said it many times here on the stream. It's the flight number from. It was the flight number from my last 747 flight. Tokyo to Frankfurt. 711. 9.
is at level 3 and 0.
Right, cheeky flyby, let's do that.
Direct 10 low, start and local.
Yeah, I mean, then after a while, when you got practice, with the announcements as a first officer, and then the next step was as a captain. And I have to say, anything like if it's a standard announcement, a welcome announcement.
Cameras saved.
Sorry, what's that for the Earring 63 uniform advisory?
Negative. 946, switch to advisory.
Okay. So then as a captain, obviously more emphasis is then, in the training especially, is then put onto the announcements. So it's something you have to practice. It's something you have to mentally prepare for and try to get some basic layout. So what I mean by that is you want a structure, right? So let's say you have an issue, you have a technical issue on the ground, let's say, okay? Then you want to, welcome your guests, right? And then you want to say, prepare the passengers for that something's wrong. And then you have to think about how you formulate, let's say it's a technical issue, then you're trying to formulate it in a way that is easy enough to understand. So, leave out a lot of technical terms, right? Yeah, exactly. Not to scare them off either, right? And then there's two more important things you have to remember. One is you want to let them know what you're doing, what is being done to solve that problem. Okay. So what actions, have we started? For example, we called up maintenance, and they're sending up some technicians to look at the problem. And then another very important factor is don't make any promises regarding, whether or not how optimistic you are that it's going to be solved. I mean, if it's something that you're sure of that can be fixed quickly, then yeah, sure, you can say, don't worry about it. It's a light bulb. Technicians will come out and fix the, change the light bulb. But whenever you're not sure, you have to be very careful how you formulate it. So don't make promises. Oh yeah, they'll fix it, no problem, right? And then you find out, oh, it's a bigger problem. Oh, sorry, I was too optimistic. All right, we can't fly. Aircraft is grounded. So just name the facts, what's happening, and not too technical, and then announce what's being done. And then the last part is make sure that you keep them informed, right? So you're going to say, I'll make another announcement once I hear from the technicians how long the repairs will take, right? And then regularly inform them, even if you don't really have much to say, right? Same thing will be, for example, 23010, Dankeschön, tschüss, die Eurowings 63 uniform. This, for example, is very, very handy when you have a slot time. So you would say, oh, we've got a slot time from air traffic control. We have, at the moment, 1 hour delay. However, we've talked to ATC. We've told them to put in a ready message. And, if we're lucky, we're going to get an improvement. I can't promise you this, though, so we'll have to be patient, but I will keep you informed. And then, even if, if the slot hasn't got better, after 15-20 minutes, and then make another announcement. Say, hey, we're still in the line, we're trying a rerouting, but right now, unfortunately, no improvements. I will keep you updated, right? Just make them feel like, you're keeping them, you keep them informed, and you're trying your best to get an improvement on the situation. Langen, hello, Eurowings 63 uniform out of 330, climbing 350. Speed, vertical speed. Okay, direct to Borep, confirm, and it's the Eurowings 63 uniform.
63 uniform, correct, apologies.
No worries. Alright, well, Borep. Well, we're turning anyways to Burp, so...
Now to level 350, rate of descent 1,500 feet per minute or greater.
Yeah,
Disco 5611, contact München radar 132.455.
so remember the story I told you guys? I'm just thinking about some examples. So, remember the story with the dog that we had in Malaga?
Frequency is 132.455.
The dog that unfortunately did his business in the transportation box. You guys remember that story, right? And so the question is, how do you formulate such an issue to your passengers, right? So obviously, I don't want to, describe it too graphically, right? So you would keep it a bit more general. Well, yeah, but the thing is, though, Ghost. The problem is, if you give your passengers too much information, then they will start wondering, oh, that's interesting. How are they going to solve that? Well, surely they've got to get outside now and clean the box, right, etc. So it's not really their concern, is it? Right? So you could say, right now we've got an issue with loading, right? We have some issue with baggage loading. We're on it, right? We'll try to get the issue solved as quickly as possible. I will keep you updated, right? Then another funny story, just thinking of some issues that I had in the past. Sometimes there are situations that you can't hide from your passengers. And one very funny story that I had was, it was a 321 in Berlin. And the funny thing is, these situations, I always remember where it was. So that was in Berlin, in Tegel. And so we were in a 321. No, sorry, it was a 320. Disregard. Hang on. No, it was a 321. I'm pretty sure 321 because it has a... No, it wasn't. No, it must have been a 320 because... it must have been a 320 because... Let me try to get to that. Sorry for the sound. So the issue was, if you look at your emergency exits there, you guys know that we have a chute that comes out of the fuselage here to allow the passengers to allow the emergency slide to be deployed and then allow the passengers to drop down, right? So the problem was, on the outside check, I noticed that the little door, the hatch door, wasn't completely locked. So it kind of has some locking pins, and for some reason, the panel wasn't flush. Right, so I was worried that in the slipstream, it may open in flight and maybe even rip off the door. So I called in maintenance, and I thought it's going to be a small issue, right? So they're just going to close it, right, lock it again, and all good, right? So I called maintenance, went back to the flight deck, and because I thought it's going to be a quick fix, I let the passengers board the aircraft. Now, what I didn't know was that the door, that little flap, that was a bit more complicated.
Alpha uniform, contact Langen, 125, decimal 355.
25355, Eurowing 63 uniform, right?
Negative, Eurowing 6 uniform, you're supposed to monitor advisory, and Lufthansa 5 for uniform, contact 125, 355. The 5 for uniform?
He's not listening.
125, 355.
Yeah, I didn't listen either, so.
125, 355, hello.
So we're gonna go.
XP12 knots or less, contact 125.
So we're gonna go on Unicom.
The 3 Papa Whiskey, speed 280 knots or less, contact 125, decimal 355. Speed 280 or less, contact 125, 355, 3 Papa Whiskey, bye. V-line 6 Alpha Kiel, radar contact.
Just to wait a few more seconds, because there is a sector here.
Then 6 Bravo Bravo, radar contact, hello. The 19er Yankee, contact 136, decimal 230. Next, 19er Juliet, contact 136, decimal 230. 136, decimal 230, Lufthansa 19er Juliet, ciao. Channel X5 to Golf, radar contact, hello, proceed direct to Utaba.
Yeah, so you're very busy today. So just to confirm, Eurowings 63 uniform is going to advisory.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah, correct. Bye-bye.
Thank you much. Bye-bye. Right, so anyways. So, the passengers were boarding, right? And then I got a call from one of my flight attendants. I think it was the one in the rear of the aircraft. Saying that she could hear some really loud knocking sounds on the right-hand side of the fuselage. And I was like, what the hell? You know? So I went outside again to check, and what I saw was, so imagine the picture. The mechanic was lying on his back on the wing, and he was hammering. Well, I mean hammering. He was trying to close that panel by hitting it with his feet. Right, so he was like desperate, trying to get that panel shut. Now, when I saw that, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Right, because on the other hand, I saw passengers that had already boarded right at the window, looking outside and seeing what was going on. Oh, come on, you've got to be kidding me. Munich 29555. So then my next thought was, how on earth, and am I going to explain that to the passengers? So it's one of those situations where you wish you were a first officer, right? München, hallo, grüß Gott, die Eurowing 6 uniform, flight level 350.
Eurowing 63 uniform, radar contact, direct Ostes.
Direct to Ostes, Eurowing 63 uniform, Dankeschön. Well, that's a big direct Ostes. I don't honestly remember what I told the passengers, but what I do remember is that I was sweating. I was really having a hard time
Alpine 7 Yankee for descent planning.
Trying to make a good announcement on that, right?
Level 100. Cleared level remains 200 for now.
And on different occasions, I honestly,
Ryanair 98 Juliet,
and it didn't only happen once, it happened several times that my first officer said to me, I'm glad that I'm the first officer and I didn't have to make that announcement. Right? Because sometimes these situations are just so unbelievable that you know, it is so difficult to make an announcement to them. Because whatever you say, right, if somebody witnesses a mechanic lying on his back on the wing hammering against the fuselage with their feet, I mean, how do you explain that, right? we got top drop coming up. Let's get the weather. Step deleted. Oh yeah, we were supposed to go higher. Let's put that 350 first of all, and then let's get the weather. Actually, we got ATIS, don't we? Let me try destination ATIS. Well, I mean, you can delegate announcements to the first officer, but honestly, there are certain things that should be done by the captain, right?
Easy 5723 after T-PAM direct Ost-Test, descent to flight level 320.
Right, let's have a look here at the ATIS. So it's information kilo. Runway is wet, we can see that. So 15 in use, 150 at 8.
63 uniform, descent to flight level 320.
Descent flight level 320, ring 63 uniform. So we got vertical speed, out blue, 320.
Qatari 75 Golf, I observe you climbing. What level are you climbing to?
Exactly, Ghost.
It's just my
You know,
I was literally about to play
some, well, it happens frequently that you have nervous flyer on board, right? And
Qatari 75 Golf, Roger, this is not VATSIM traffic.
they obviously will listen up more closely, and they will get worried a lot quicker than, you know, other passengers. So if it's something, you know, technically, let's say more challenging, then they would ask themselves, so why is the first officer making the announcement and not the captain? What's wrong with the captain? Has the captain, or is the captain incapacitated or something, right? So definitely, right? In certain situations, it should be the captain that does the announcements. Right, what I can tell you, Salzburg. Now, Salzburg has some very special features, and one of them is the missed approach, for example, and the engine out missed approach. And so, what you have to do, for example, here, is make sure for the missed approach, you have to have a maximum speed of 165 until you've completed the turn, and a minimum bank angle of 25 degrees. Okay. Also, depending on the aircraft type and the misapproach climb gradient that you're able to do, you have different minimas. So, you know, how low you're allowed to descend. And during 6 uniform would appreciate further descent if available.
Rolling 63 uniform, descent to flight level 200.
Okay, it's partly blocked there, so just confirm descent flight level 200 for Eurowings 6 uniform.
Correct.
Alright, let's go. Thrust out of descent, out blue 200.
5723, descent to flight level 200.
So it says that here as well. It says for minimums, based on a missed approach climb gradient of less than 5% for the ILS, see 11.8. Okay. So if we go 11.8, so let's have a look here, 11A. So there you have different missed approach climb gradients, right? So this is something you have to establish first of all in the performance calculator. And I'm not sure if we get that here. Probably not. In the FENIX, I think you do, right? You do get a missed approach climb gradient. Let's do runway wet, anti-ice, engine anti-ice on, config full, air conditioning on, brake. Yeah, we'll have a look in a minute. Brake. Reverse off. Compute. So actually, it does give an engine out grade as well here. So for it's a Neo, we have good performance, so we can achieve at least 5%, okay? And that means for the ILS, we can achieve the 5% go-around gradient, so we can use that that minimum. So 1690, let's say, okay? So that's 1690.
Roving 63 uniform, maintain speed 280 knots or greater.
280 or more. Clearing 63 uniform, copied. So selected speed.
EV5723, reduce speed to 70 knots or less for sequencing.
11A, I have it, Jacob. I'm not sure why you're not seeing it, but I do have it. Right. So let's say your performance calculations say that you can only do 3%, let's say. Okay, so you have to take 2.5%. Then your minimum is 2,120 to 110. Hey, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick, for the 104 months. Nick, I hope you're doing well. How are you doing? Just a few. Thank you very much, long term, and I hope you're doing well. How's the weather?
Roving 63 uniform, continue descent to flight level 100, cross DBAC at level.
Descend flight level 100 and we'll cross DBAC at level. BBAC, Bravo India, Bravo Alpha Golf. Copied, Eurowing 63 uniform.
Correct.
So,
Roving 78 Charlie, climb to flight level 240.
BBAC. I'm going to put in alt constraint 100 in here, so that we have that covered as a reminder. So that's understood, right? That's what it refers to. Now, there's a question regarding the special Cat 2.3 approach. Yeah, so I mean here it says the use of this procedure and these minimums require authorization by Austro Control. Right. So again, I also remember that we had to have we had training for Salzburg in the simulator. I know that, and
EV5723, turn right heading 190 vector.
I don't remember if I have Cat 3A or Cat 3 Bravo allowance or just Cat 2 allowance. But again, it's all special because yeah, IRL. There's lots of certification stuff.
November 62.
So here, for example, special, it says special aircrew and aircraft certification required. And look at the minimum approach climb gradient, 5.9%. So that's why you have so many different aspects there. Yeah. So that's why it's special. But for us today, the important thing is, if we have to go around, we have to make sure that we have a maximum speed of 165 indicated and a minimum bank of 25 degrees for that very sharp turn, this one here. And you can see the valley is not that wide, so you get otherwise an issue with these obstacles. And Nick, it's getting warmer now. Nice. Lost yesterday in ice hockey. I didn't watch that. Okay. Pilot 19, very good question. I actually had a real-world wind shear in Salzburg, so we had to do a wind shear procedure, a very hefty wind shear actually, with extreme turbulence. And so we were doing a config 3 approach in an A319, so we stayed at config 3, and then normally when you go into your normal go procedure, you go flaps 1. In this case, because we had to fly to 165 knots, it was non-standard core flaps 2. Right? So otherwise we would have had to accelerate to S speed, which was much higher than 165. So yeah, these are lots of little details that you have to follow, and if you don't, you can get into trouble, into big trouble. Yeah, Avimar, just like I mentioned, yeah. And this will be something as a special briefing point in the approach briefing. Let's get the signs on. Good. So, if we take auto brake
Qatari 75 Golf, turn left
low,
immediately. Head
we have about 1,800 meters.
Turn left, heading easier.
Let's have a look here.
Heading 00, sorry.
Beeline 196, traffic information, Airbus 380 is opposite at your 1 o'clock. Climbing through flight level 30 erratically on the claims of traffic that does not exist on the network. I'm sorry.
So, we'll vacate Echo. We can't make Delta, that's too short. So we'll vacate on to Echo. And Echo is 2,080 meters. So I'll use auto brake low, config full, and try not to spend too much time on the runway. Right, we'll try to expedite getting off at Echo.
Eurowings 63 uniform, contact Salzburg radar on 123725, ciao.
23725, Dankeschön, tschüss, Eurowings 63 uniform. So we have information kilo. Let me just check them.
795, descent 10,000 feet, QNH 1025.
Information Lima. Okay. Salzburg, hello, from Eurowings 63 uniforms 160 descending 100, information Lima.
Eurowings 63 uniform, hello, Salzburg, weather contact, expect vectors, Alice approach runway 15.
Expecting vectors Alice 15, Eurowings 63 uniform.
08, right about -0, cleared Alice approach runway 16, correction, cleared Alice runway 15.
You always want to try to land with auto brakes so that your brake discs are worn evenly. Also, another issue is if you have a lot of crosswind and you're using rudder pedals to stay on the center line, it's very difficult to evenly brake on both sides if you're using, the rudder pedals at the same time. So that's why it is advisable to always use auto brakes. If you don't, if you have a very long runway where you don't have to brake much at all, then you can leave it off, but I would brief that. Right, so we have seatbelts on, auto brake low, minimum is in. Let's have a look. Is that Lima? That's Lima. And we have runway wet still, and 4,000 meter temporary, and 110.
8857, good evening,
That's all set now.
Expect radar vectors, Alice approach runway 15.
So for the briefing, currently we're on the Bardet arrival.
Charlie, Tower 118.1.
There it is. Currently outside of the range there. So we have Bardet 4,000, then we go to Salzburg, so 4,000 above, then we go to Salzburg, 4,000 above, correct. The sector is 4,000 meters to the north and 11,000 south of Salzburg VOR. So, very high terrain, obviously. Now, contour layer, white. So as long as we're in the area that is white in color, we are safe in 4,000 feet. Speed back 250 knots, Eurowings 63 uniform. So here in the first coloring, in the first shading, it would be 6,000 safe. So we always add 1,000 feet to the minimum clearance, obstacle clearance here, right? So that's 4,000 safe. Hey, Semaf. For the approach itself, we'll do that out of 4,000. Descent point 8.1 dBs from the ILS. Minimum is 1690 with the min gradient of 5%. Missed approach laterally straight ahead 2 miles from the ILS, south of it, then left turn, climb via Sierra India Beacon here, back to the VOR Salzburg,
Austin 208, reduce 180.
And hold. So we climb 6,000 feet. That's done. Well, it's set 100. I have to ask, because he did say descent level 100.
Left 180 and get RS 15, Austin 208.
And Salzburg, you're doing 6 uniform. Previous sector cleared us level 100. Just confirm it's not QNH.
25. Success, nice. Descent 9,000 feet, speed 220 knots. Descent 9,000 feet, Runway 63 uniform, reduce speed 220 knots.
Speed back 220 knots, and to be advised, the previous sector gave us level 100 to descend, but it should be QNH, correct?
Runway 63 uniform, recleared 10,000, QNH 1025.
Okay, the recleared 10,000, QNH 1025, you're doing 6 uniform.
Runway 4369, tower 118.
That's actually an issue IRL as well, if I remember correctly.
ED59, direct Simba.
Regarding that coordination with the traditional level.
Runway 279.
So that's why it's a good idea to ask if you're unsure. Outstar 10,000. Good. Good. Okay, so missed approach, as we said, special is 165 in the turn, max or minimum bank 25 degrees. Very important until we finish that turn. Land distance required about 1900 meters. We'll try to vacate at Echo, back to the apron, very busy. So we'll see what parking spot we'll get. And but hotspots not visible there. So special threats. Weather is not optimum. We have high terrain all around. So very important. Oh, severe ice detection. Oh. Left heading 090. You're doing 6-3 uniform. So we have heading 090. Wing anti-ice. Yeah, so high terrain all around the airfield. So special awareness required. And very busy airspace.
Easy 8557, descent 7,000 feet.
Descent 7,000 feet, 8857.
Airline 63 uniform, descent 8,000 feet.
63 uniform, descent 8,000. Speed, very speed, 8,000. Well, Aviomar, there are certain criteria that have to be fulfilled for you to be allowed below MSA. So, for example, you would have to be under radar vectors. That's one of the criteria normally. The second one is you have to have a confirmed airplane position. And so if your accuracy is better than the required, then you have a good accuracy, right? And you have to have a chart like this one where you can see contour layers, right? So when these criteria are fulfilled, then yes, in those cases you could go below MSA. But obviously you have to be careful, right? Yeah, remember guys, ATC has minimum radar vector altitudes. And they can be below MSA, right? And that's when you can accept those. Descent 5,000, Turing's 6-3 uniform. Right, thrust idle of descent, 5,000 blue. Well, you can see the issues, right? So now we're outside of this sector, maybe. Let's have a look, Salzburg.
Wings 27 Alpha, turn left 180, clear the left 15.
Let's do Sierra Bravo Golf here.
Wings 27 Alpha, clear the left approach, runway 15.
Clear the left approach 15, you're in
Runway 112, turn left heading 360. Runway 112, heading 360. Wings 63 uniform, turn left, correction, turn right heading 250.
Right 250, Eurowing 6 uniform.
Easy 8857, turn right heading 260.
So right 250.
Turn right heading 260.
Yeah, aircraft is turning right. Good.
Easy 5723.
And I want the beacon Sierra India in here. 410. ADF on. Good. So Pilot 19, this would be a company SOP, but that would be obviously, you know, have to be in line with the law. But an airline can always adapt a higher safety level, right? So it can be that some SOPs don't allow you what I've just quoted, right? No, you can do it in IMC. That's the idea regarding you know, the contour layers.
Looks here 795, descent 7,000 feet. Right angle 112.
Yeah, we're 12 miles
Right angle 112, right heading 090.
east of the VOR. So it's still 4,000 feet, not meters, 4,000 feet
Alpha, contact tower 118
sector.
decimal 1.
118.1, you're in 27 Alpha.
8857, speed
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to listen to ATC as well. Sorry if my answers are somewhat delayed.
Easy 5723, turn
So
right
approach
heading
checklist, bar ref,
40.
we have 1025 and 5,020 feet is
Wing
checked.
63 uniform, descent 4,000 feet.
Descent 4,000 during 63 uniform. 4,000 blue. Seatbelts on. Minimum bar row 1690. Auto brake low. Engine mode selector is normal. Somebody asked where to put the minimums here in the MCDU. So you go to your performance page, then onto the approach page, and then on the bar row, you enter the minimum for non-precision approaches and Cat 1 ILS approaches. But then when you go Cat 2 or Cat 3 approaches, ILS, then you would put the radio minimum in here.
Salzburg, Delta, Alpha, Juliet, Alpha, November.
Hello, I call you back. Looks at 795, turn right heading 130.
18.1. So let's pre-dial the tower here, 18.1.
Delta Alpha Juliet, Alpha November, expect weather vectors, ILS approach runway 15.
18.1 pre-select. Another thing you have to remember is when you get below MSA, in accordance with the procedures that I just mentioned, you would call out in the flight deck below MSA. It has to do with, I guess, situational awareness, so that everybody in the flight deck knows you're operating at a low altitude below safe altitude, and that everyone has to be very, very aware and concentrating, trying to keep up, you know, situational awareness, know exactly where you are and where you're going.
EC 5723, descent 4,000 feet. Looks at 795, descent 5,000 feet.
So TAT plus 7. I'm going to try getting wing anti-ice off again, because normally that's warm enough now.
Delta Alpha November, descent 9,000 feet.
Yes, checked.
Sending 9,000 feet, Delta Alpha November.
Delta Alpha November, QNH.
It is low, right? I mean, elevation is
1025, Delta Alpha November.
1,500 feet.
Delta Alpha November, turn right heading 130.
So we are pretty close to the ground.
Right heading 3, work, confirm 5.
Sorry, it's a left turn.
Left 1 for Delta Alpha November.
Runway 63 uniform, left 190, clear DLS approach, runway 15.
Left 190, cleared DLS approach 15. Euro 63 uniform. So ILS Oscar Echo Sierra is identified. We have glide slope blue, lock blue. Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2.
Runway 923, hello, radar contact, fly, maintain present heading, expect LS approach runway 15.
Hey, Psycho. I'm gonna leave.
Wing 63 uniform, speed 180 or not or greater until 60 ME.
180 or more until 60 me. Copy to your ring 63 uniform. So let's do flaps 1. Speed check flaps 1.
Okay, go Foxtrot Bravo Delta, clear direct Salzburg.
There's Lock Star. I just have to make sure that it sequences for the missed approach, but it has done so.
5723, turn
So now it's
left
Fox
heading
India
20.
15, so that's fine.
Check 412, turn right heading 240.
It's bumpy. Blimey.
Runway 112, turn left heading.
Flaps 2, speed checks. Flaps 2. 180 or more. Glide slope star.
Runway 993,
Missed approach
turn
6000
right,
is
heading
set.
100. Runway 93, set in right 100. Austrian 412, descend 6000 feet. Lufthansa 795, descend 4000 feet.
Horrible weather. Hey, 777 driver. I'm doing well.
Ring 63 uniform, tower 118.12.
81, good job. Your ring 6 uniform, bye. Yeah, you did a great job. Very nice.
A320, line up runway 15 and wait behind.
Look at the tailwind.
2000.
Get down. Blimey.
Tower clear.
6 miles.
Spawning in Austrian A320 now at Whiskey 2, but I am...
Flaps 3, speed is checked. Flaps 3.
Yeah, there is a little space I can offer you.
Flaps 4, speed check. Flaps 4.
At the moment. So take a right turn, exit 3, and then exit 2 to the GSC terminal, please.
Okay, I can do, but I see that it is...
Let's hope we slow down in time. 9 thrust.
Yeah, he disappeared, so yeah. Continue for Whiskey 2, please.
Yes, I will park.
You use 28 Yankee, you have no clearance for a backtrack, so please expedite the arriving aircraft just on 3 miles final.
Yeah, we're fast still. Okay, but we should be able to do it. Slowing down now, fantastic.
Easy 8857, take next to the right
Busy,
via
busy.
Lima and exit 4 to stand Whiskey.
Yeah, but we're stable now, fantastic.
Correction, Echo 6.
8 knots tailwind. Checked.
That's a correction. Echo 6. Needed money.
28 Yankee, beat 150, keep 8 knots, runway 15, you clear for takeoff, no delay.
Yes, please, no delay. Airings 6-3 uniform, only frequency on the LS-15.
Airings 6-3 uniform, Salzburg Tower, good evening, expect delayed clearance, 1 departure ahead.
Yeah, let's copy it. The Airings 6-3 uniform. Come on, move! He's not moving. Oh. You guys would love to see me do a go around, I know, but he's still not rolling. He's still standing there.
500.
Condor 25 Alpha, startup is approved, no pushback in Salzburg.
It's gonna go. It's gonna be missed approach for sure.
Report ready for taxi.
400.
6-3 uniform. I see the runway block confirmed.
Yeah, continue. He's just moving.
We continue. 6-3 uniform.
Minimum.
Continue.
Condor 25 Alpha, where it's down. Of course, there's grass between us and the taxiway, so can we just, how do we deal with that? Please, no pushback.
Airwing 63 uniform, the wind 150 degrees 8 knots, you're clear to land 15.
Yeah, land 15, Airings 6 uniform.
30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
Speed brakes. There's a green. Decel. He's not lifting off, is he? He's not taking off. He's got issues.
ED 5723 Salzburg Tower, just got continue. Eurowings 28, leave the runway expedite next to the right. Eurowings break, Eurowings 63 uniform next to the right via Delta, please.
Yeah, we are for Delta 6 uniform. Wow. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's really interesting what happened there.
Easy 5723, the wind 150 degrees 8 knots, runway 15, you clear to land.
And I'll tell you my thought process.
Eurowings 63 uniform, taxi to stand Whiskey 3 via exit 3.
Whiskey 3 via exit 3, Eurowings 6 uniform. So we go to the right. Let's start with the cleanup here. Wow, that was intense. Not gonna lie. That was intense.
Salzburg car, Condor 25 Alpha, we're parked in a position where we're going to require pushback as we get clearance.
It'll be in the evening news.
Yeah, Condor 25 Alpha, that's not possible.
Guys, can you check please on radar if he took off?
Turn taxi out, make a start on position, please.
I'm really curious to see if he actually took off, because it didn't look like that.
Salzburg Tower, EDDK 8857, it seems Echo 6 is occupied, correct?
Yeah, it's occupied now. Take Whiskey 5, please.
Whiskey 5.
So Whiskey 3 is nice. Nice parking spot. VIP. He rejected. It looked like that. So he didn't go airborne. Okay.
Looks at 759er, Salzburg Tower. Good evening. Continue for the 15. Looks at 795, 150 degrees 8 knots, runway 15, you clear to land.
Yeah. But I'll tell you the thought process behind that in a minute. So I can understand the controller that he waited. But there's also some legal aspects in that regard.
Easy 5. 723, at the moment all stands on the main apron are occupied. I can offer you a stand on the GSE apron, so continue on Lima and then exit 2 to the GSE apron. Follow Marshaller. Exit 2,
so that's Whiskey 2 here.
Eurowings 28 Yankee for you 2 to the GSE apron, continue on Lima and then exit 2.
So it looks to me like the Swiss is on Whiskey 3.
Oh, just wait,
there's no ground here.
We are leaving soon, so just a second. Good evening,
Austin 412, Salzburg Tower, schönen guten Abend. Continue for the 15, 150, knots, expect late clearance.
Oh, hang on, no it's not. Hang on, no. No, Whiskey 3 should be free actually. So we'll squeeze in there. I'll tell you what, let's go in there. That's fine.
Easy 1255, taxi to holding point, runway 15 via exit 3 and Lima QNH 1025, hold short exit 3.
Taxi right by runway 15.
Yeah, I should be right.
Exit 3, Lima, QNH 125, hold short exit 3. 135 Alpha, ready for taxi to the active.
Condor 25 Alpha, taxi holding point, runway 15 via exit 3 and
so Swiss or Whiskey 4, yeah, I think you're right.
The Airbus A320 is number 2.
Yeah, it should be alright. Let's have a look.
Yeah, 15 via Lima, following EasyJet, Condor 25 Alpha.
Estonian 872, request pushback.
Ah, tight fit, but we managed. It looks alright. We'll do that. Park brake is on. Engine anti-ice off. APU bleed on. And then let's shut down the engines. Let's do the sounds.
Estonian 8722, startup is approved, no pushback in Salzburg, expect right turn taxi out. Right turn taxi out, sorry for that, Estonian 8.
Close, yeah, but hey. That's all.
Go around that again, go around.
Oh, I would actually, it would be better to log off. But, if I'm honest, this is just so freaking exciting here. Things are going on it. Blimey. I feel sorry for the controller that he's on his own. So, I mean, yeah, there should be an apron controller here. That would definitely help him. Good. Let's do the rest of the items. Beacon on, seatbelts off, fuel pumps off. Right. Let's read the checklist. We have the parking brake or chock set, engines off, and fuel pumps off. Pilot that says Porsche Salzburg only has IRL as well, only delivery to help tower. Really? Blimey. So, guys, so what we just witnessed was something quite unique. The thing is that if you look at the departure routes for runway 15, they are pretty much the same as the go-around path, right? So if we had gone around very late behind the traffic that just departed, it would have caused a lot of issues for the separation, because the tower can't give you radar vectors, and due to the valley you have to turn. So both aircraft would have to climb and turn at the same time. And so let's say I'm heavy and the aircraft that just took off is a business jet or something, something smaller with a lot higher climb rate. That could really cause huge issues, right? So my thought process was, even though I didn't have the 2,200 meter separation, so if I remember correctly, if you land on the runway that is still occupied, you can get a landing clearance from tower if the aircraft ahead of you is 2,200 meters ahead of you. Right, that's kind of a separation you have to have. And that is, of course, to cater for the fact that if the aircraft ahead of you does an RTO, you have enough buffer to go max braking and get the aircraft to stop, right, ahead of the other aircraft. So that's the 2,200 meter limit that you have to have. Now, did we have that? Probably not, right? But I think it was still safer than to go around and then have two aircraft in the climb in the very same kind of routing, and you can't go anywhere, right? There's just, it's a valley, a dead-end valley, if you like, and the only procedure that is charted is this missed approach. And if you look at the departure routes here, I think it's called Titik departure, right? Titik departure? Yeah. Look at this. Right, so the departure route is pretty much exactly like the missed approach. Right? Pilot 19, the problem is, at that point, he would have had to call in very early for the other traffic to say, cancel takeoff clearance and then send me into the missed approach. I think that would have been a very safe course of action, yes. But I guess for VATSIM controllers, it's probably difficult to see because of the time delay, the lag sometimes, between the aircraft moving on his scope, and the actual position of the aircraft. I'm not sure. I've never controlled on VATSIM. But I think sometimes they don't really know exactly how far they've moved, right? Let me just log off here. But indeed, very interesting. And it's, for me, interesting to see again my thought process. Try to establish the safest course of action. Because, so I had the issue, what options would I have had? I would have had the option for myself to say, runway is blocked going around. I could have done that. But again, so imagine at that moment, the aircraft ahead of me has lifted off, and I'm going around at low altitude. We are in potential conflict there, right? We're going straight into IMC. I can't see the traffic. I mean, it's hell would break loose in that case. So this is the kind of an evaluation, the safest course of action, even though maybe we didn't have the 2,200 meters separation there, but I knew that I could stop very quickly, even if the aircraft that it does an RTO, which apparently he did. So not nice, but I think IRL, I think that would have been a report for sure. Maybe there would have been an investigation there as well, but yeah, difficult. And also nice to see that kind of high dynamic situation. So, you know, you're busy, you're flying along, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you're getting into this, unlucky timing, right? And you're getting into a situation where it's really dangerous. And you have to make a split-second decision, right? So, if I hadn't got a landing clearance, I would have gone around. So let's say at 50 feet into the flare, if I hadn't had a landing clearance by that time, I would go around. Also, what I've had in real life, if it's a very close kind of separation deal with the traffic taking off, and, you know, I'm at, let's say, 50 feet, ATC sometimes says, you know, you're being 6 uniform, no need to reply, you clear to land. All right. Hey, Paul Wilson, welcome. Yeah. But yeah, I love that. I love that kind of content. I love the, you know, that situation developing. And then trying to see and trying to analyze if there's anything that we could have done better in the end, right? But I mean, it's one of those situations, one of those events that are just you know, so busy, and I guess you have to stretch, you know, limitations. Can we do deboarding? Catering, lavatory, refueling. Let's do that. Pax was 165. Let's try that. So we are using a new mod here, a new program, an X-Plane. Called Real Ops. And so you can actually, there we go, we can actually see passengers disembark. Let's close that door. And let's close 2 left as well. Open up. Cool. There we go. Yanis, thank you much for the flowers. Appreciate that. The GAC pilot, that where's the GAC? It's on the left side here. Oh, you mean for just watching? Yeah. Thomas, hello to you. Thomas, wie geht's? Thomas, is that you with the 737 sim? And we try to get together for a session. Just wondering if that's you. 9. Okay, Thomas. Okay, then don't worry about it. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Welcome to Salzburg. And normally, though, if I remember correctly, normally passengers walk over the apron here. They don't really take buses, but it doesn't matter. I mean, there we go. Avimar, you had a situation where the clearance was that late that readback was after landing law. Okay, now you can also depart from there. Okay. So Jacob, very good question. So if I had heard, if the other aircraft had called in that he's doing an RTO, then I would have gone around 100%. Because then my safer option is to go around. If I know the other aircraft is staying on the ground, well, then I go around, right? But in this case, as he was rolling about 1,000, maybe 1,500 meters ahead of me, probably just 1,000. I had to expect him to rotate at any moment, right? And so again, if I had gone around, that would have potentially caused a very, very bad situation. Yeah. FENIX stock, no, honestly, and I'm not bragging anything. I've never had a situation where I had to call ATC. Now, I did ask for a number once, and that was in Cologne actually, because we had not a resolution advisory, we had a traffic advisory while we turned onto final approach. And there's Leverkusen, there's a private airfield there at Leverkusen, and there's VFR traffic, but it seemed like that traffic to my TCAS indication was only like 200 feet below me. So or maybe I did get a resolution, maintain altitude or something, or maintain vertical speed or something. I don't remember exactly, but I told the tower, I said, hey, we had just had a traffic 200 feet below, and they said, well, not according to their indication. And so I asked for a telephone number. And then I did talk to the supervisor because I wasn't sure if I want to pull the tapes. But it must have been a resolution advisor because I had to write a report on that. Yeah, so I had to write a report, a mandatory report. So I guess I had the tapes pulled to see if separation was an issue. No, and I never got a pilot deviation. No, luckily no. I've never been fined. So I'm not saying I never made mistakes. I did make mistakes, but I've never got fined either, which was, I guess that's already an achievement, right? No accident. I never put a dent into the aircraft. Yeah, okay. I know. People are going to tell me orange juice. Yes. I did bust one of the radio panels here on the 737. Yeah. No, hang on. No. The thrust levers. No. That was the captain. That wasn't me. I was just the innocent first officer. I watched this. It wasn't me. Okay. Yeah. What sim do I prefer? I still at the moment...
Yeah, right.
No, seriously. So I at the moment, I'm so torn between... Yeah, that's what they always say, right? I'm always torn between the visuals of Microsoft and the actual simulation in X-Plane. Because I'm not going to lie, the way the aircraft behaved, the dynamics, the wind situation, in tailwind that we had, the way the aircraft moved, inertia, just feels more lifelike here in an X-Plane. And I got my 50 FPS here, which I synced with the monitor frequency. So it felt fairly smooth. But I mean, in Cologne, it was terrible. The FPS, 40 FPS. I just really hope they now focus, now that they focused on getting clouds and stuff working. I really hope that they get working on performance now. Because that's one of the things I'm really, really sad about. Yanis, yeah, excellent, yeah. Yeah, well, back then, so nowadays, there is something called a no liquid zone, okay? So, everything here, right, is no liquid zone, okay? The same up front here. Table, no liquid zone. You don't put any beverages here. Okay. So when the flight attendant comes in to hand you over some coffee or drinks, they have to reach around the side here, and you have to take the drink on the side here and put it into this cup holder. Yes. Yeah, even the table. You're not allowed to put anything on here. No. Yeah, I did have to file a report for the... well, I mean, I had to put it into the tech logbook. So it was official, right? And then I had to write... Well, I thought I better write a report. And... Yeah, I mean, maybe I stretched the truth a bit, okay? The entry of shame. So I may or may not have put in due to turbulence or something like that. I don't remember. I don't know. But it was expensive, for sure. And I'm not proud of it. So it is one of the embarrassing moments that, yeah, you know, you're never proud of that, obviously. These panels are tremendously expensive, right? So, yeah, shit happens, right? Cool.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box.
Yeah, soup
Channel
does count as liquid, yeah.
experience. Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium
Hey,
flight
Pilot.
entertainment will be served.
Thank you for 16
Thank
months. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah, but I mean, looking back, you know, if you fly for 30 years, it's a long career, many flight hours, right? So in the end, I do remember my last landing in Frankfurt on the 787, taxiing in and, you know, switching off the aircraft. The relief I felt. I mean, sadness, yes. Hey, Jamie. Sadness, yes, that it's over. But I also felt a tremendous relief knowing that I'm able to finish my career having flown 30 years safely, you know, without any injuries, without any damages, apart from the radio panel. You know, I would say job well done. And I'm not saying I did it all on my own. No, I've had a tremendous team around me all the time. Tremendous crew that helped me in all situations. So it's always teamwork. Don't get me wrong, right? But yeah, fortunate enough. And I mean, you could always say, oh, you've been very lucky. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky, no doubt. There was a lot of luck involved, right? But I think I'm allowed to say that I must have done something right in my career. I must have learned something correctly to be able to have, you know, a 30-year long career without accidents and injuries. So yeah, I'm proud of that for sure. Mark, yeah, I know, right? We have to write them down. My memory isn't getting any better, is it? Yeah. Yeah. What's the biggest scare you got? Here's Salzburg. The wind shear at nighttime. It still gives me goosebumps. I'm not gonna lie. So coming in to land in the evening. So the whole story was as follows. I hope you have some time. What time is it? Yeah, we've got some time. So it was a wintry day. It was like must have been January, February, a couple of years ago. I was still on the Airbus back then, and we flew to Salzburg twice that day. We flew there. It was late shift, so we flew there at, let's say, 2 in the afternoon. So it was 2 in the afternoon. Went back to Frankfurt, and then came back again to Salzburg. Now, on our way to Frankfurt, or actually on the first time we flew Frankfurt-Salzburg that afternoon, we had to de-ice the aircraft in Frankfurt. So it was a bit of delay because we had de-icing. And then in the evening, I think it was around about 11 o'clock in the evening, or 11:30, they were expecting a big storm field to move into the area with very strong winds out of the west. And that is always an issue here in Salzburg. Let me get weather clear skies here, because of the mountains around you, right? So we had so if you look around here, right, look at the terrain, and even though those mountains don't look that big, but if you have a 60 or 70 knot wind out of the west, what happens here is it will create some rotor waves, right? So the wind, you know, rotating up and down, right? And that causes wind shear, right? So that was a known issue. Now, when we got back to Frankfurt, they were already discussing whether or not to cancel the flight. And so I said, well, I mean, at the moment, the weather was only like 7 or 8 knots of wind. So the actual wind was 290 at 8. And the forecast was still for, you know, way past our arrival time. So I think we were supposed to arrive about 10 in the evening. We had a little bit delay, but we should have been arriving well ahead of that storm field to move in. And I said, well, I mean, we can refuel for any airport you like, right? Usually you do, we did tankering back then anyway, so we had enough fuel to go anywhere, really. So in the end, Operation Control then said, yeah, all right, we'll let you fly. So we took off. We watched the weather. It was always saying 290 at 7 or 8 knots, right? So very little wind on the ground there. And then we approached the area. We got onto the final. So let me get the Avitab here. So did our preparations, talked about missed approach. We even discussed the wind shear procedure. So we even briefed that as a speciality, right? Because we didn't know exactly how the weather will pan out. So we got towards Salzburg, onto the ILS, and then we were handed over to the tower. And the tower said to us, the wind 290 at 10, clear to land. And so we thought, okay, as expected, right? The wind hasn't picked up yet, so all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Infotainment
Hey Zipchi, thank you much for the 7 months.
Subscribers should now
Oh, it's your home base, nice. What a beautiful home base. But then you know about wind shear here as well, Zipchi, right?
Welcome to my home base, BB.
Beautiful place here. I love Salzburg. Beautiful area. So, we did a configuration, intercept the glide slope, gear down, right? And just as we intercept the glide slope, so we're about 2,500 feet above the ground, right? We looked at the wind display, and we had about 55-ish knots from the west. And I commented on that. My first officer was a pilot flying, right? Tremendous guy, fantastic personality, really good pilot. He was the pilot flying, and I was watching the wind. I was like, hey, do you see that? We got 55 knots of wind. And then we just broke out of the clouds. He said, yeah, if you look outside, you can see the crosswind. And I looked outside. It was like, so I couldn't look straight. I had to look like almost like this. So the runway was almost hidden behind the structure there. And then I said, well, the wind is going to die down, right? I mean, tower. I called tower again and said, tower, what's your wind again? And he said, yeah, 290 at 10. And I said, well, we got, 55 knots here from the west. And they said, oh, okay. And then I asked, did you have any traffic landing in the last couple of minutes? They said, no, the last traffic was over an hour ago. And I was, okay, that's no help then, is it? So I remember very vividly, I thought, I don't like this, right? So, with all the experience, I was like, I don't like this. But, I mean, we saw the runway, and I've had this kind of wind, and very often the wind actually died down in a normal manner. There wasn't really any big wind shear, right? So anything you could handle. And then we configured to final configuration, flap 3, read the checklist, and then the wind was still, it was like 50 knots. So like in 1,500 feet above the ground, we still had the 50 knots wind from the right. And I said to my first officer, what's he feeling? Because I didn't like it. I just did not like the situation. And he said, yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? And just as he said that, it felt like somebody pulled the plug out of the weather. It's like in your simulator when you have a wind update, the wind is gone. And I remember that feeling of falling. It was just everything, just the whole inertia dynamics. It just went suddenly from straight forward to down. And at the same time, we had an old aircraft, meaning that we didn't have predictive wind shear, so we only had reactive wind shear. And because of the way the aircraft suddenly dropped, the wind shear system immediately caught on, and it shouted out wind shear, which is great because that way, right, loud. And I remember that it was so loud that call out on the headset was so freaking loud. The co-pilot split second slammed the thrust levers into the toga notch and said wind shear go around, or wind shear, sorry, he said wind shear toga. That's the call out. So I just then watched. I had my hand on the stick, and I just watched him pull the aircraft up. And you can imagine a fairly light A319 going into full power. And then suddenly the whole situation, again, it was so dynamic because we started the go around at, let's say, at about 2,500 feet, right? And the missed approach altitude was only 6,000 feet. So by the time we got up to the pitch of about 15 and then 20 degrees pitch, and again, remember, when you have wind shear, there's no configuration change. You leave the gear out, you leave the flaps where they are, and we just shot up towards 6,000 feet. And then the wind shear warning quickly shut off. It was gone again. And all I remember then is we had tremendous turbulence. We had really hard, hefty kind of strikes on the aircraft. It just felt like something was hammering the aircraft. And then I called out 2,000 feet to go, watch out. And he said, yeah, let's get the aircraft cleaned up. And then I said, well, remember, we have to have flaps 2 for the turn. He said, oh yeah, you're right. So, and I said, well, make sure to have 30-degree bank. And he flew that manually, initially. So he leveled off 6,000 feet, quite an aggressive level off as well that we had to do. Then we got the gear up, flaps 2, and then we stayed, I think it was like 160 knots, 155 knots we stayed for the turn. And remember that we had 55 knots of wind from the west, right? So during that turn, I mean, we didn't get close to the obstacle here, but I mean, we got closer to the eastern edge of the valley there. And then suddenly, because of the way the rotor waves act, we got severe turbulence. And maybe it was in the extreme at times, because the first officer put the autopilot in, and then I remember these moments, I just remember them. At some point we got a jolt and the whole aircraft just moved. It felt like we had, I don't know, 40-degree bank within a split second. The autopilot dropped out, and I heard passengers screaming. And usually don't hear the passengers in the cockpit, but I heard passengers screaming. And so I just called the approach again and said, hey, we need to climb immediately. We have severe turbulence. We need to climb. So he said, yeah, okay, climb level 100. And so we climbed level 100. And there things smoothed out a bit, luckily. So we were going towards Salzburg VOR, right, level 100. And then the controller said, so what are your intentions? You want to do another approach? And I was like, no, we're done for the day. So we already discussed the options. So we had a plan B, and that was Linz. And Linz still had good weather. So then I rechecked the weather for Linz, checked the weather for Munich. And the weird thing was, Munich was reporting winds 60 knots and also wind shear. So our plan then to have plan B Linz and plan C Vienna, that was perfect, because Linz isn't far away from here. So if we go progress page, Linz. Oops. What? Hang on. Must be in the database. There we go. It's 55 miles. Yeah, it's not very far, right? So I think we climbed a bit higher, level 120 or 130 something. Yeah, just diverted. Oh, that was because Whiskey 3 was there. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we just diverted, and Yeah, we landed. It was still a bumpy bumpy arrival, but I mean the landing 25 knots or something. That was a normal landing. But I remember that very vividly. And then you can imagine that once you start a diversion, again the workload just goes so high because you've got to take care of your crew, you've got to take care of your passengers, you've got to make an announcement. But I mean, it's only like 15 minutes flight time, right? Exactly. So I asked the co-pilot, I say, how are you feeling? And the thing is, though, he's an Italian co-pilot. I remember them very well. I had already had flown with him 2 or 3 times. Fantastic personality. Loved him. He was so funny, but he was also so good. He was so knowledgeable, and he was flying the aircraft so well. That really helps. So I was able to say, you know what? If you're feeling good, I'm going to hand everything to you. You've got RT, you've got ATC, you've got flight, you've controls, and I'll just do my thing now. Announcements, management, and so on. He said, yeah, that's fine. And the cabin crew was pretty shook up, and I can imagine that the feelings they had in the back there, the falling sensation first of all, then the go around, which was violent, then the extreme turbulence, passengers screaming. They were pretty loaded with experience, with feelings as well, right? So yeah, then we had to deboard the passengers in Linz, and we were not the only aircraft that had diverted there. I remember that we had, I think, 5 or 6 company aircraft there when we landed, and even more inbound because Munich was just closing because of the bad weather there. So we had lots of company aircraft diverting to Linz. Yeah, so then we had to do baggage handling, get the baggage off board. We had to organize buses for the passengers to get them to Salzburg. We had to get a crew bus for us. But also, luckily, now Linz had a company station there. So, we could get help from a station manager there, which they provided. Yeah, then we had a almost 2-hour drive in a bus to Salzburg. And I remember we got into the hotel, I think 1 o'clock in the morning, or maybe even past 1 o'clock. And then we had late shifts, but we had to delay the pickup because of the rest time that we had to respect. Operational debriefing with the cabin crew we had to do. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then the return crew in the morning, so they were woken up in the morning and they didn't know that we had diverted. So they got the information then from operations that they would have to take a bus to Linz, pick up the aircraft there and fly ferry to Frankfurt. So the original flight here from Salzburg was cancelled, and they ferried it to Frankfurt. Yeah, but the thing is, so pilot that for us, we continued normally in the afternoon in our rotation from Salzburg back to Frankfurt. So the aircraft, the late crew, then, or the early crew brought us the aircraft to Salzburg, and then the weather had moved past, so the weather was fine the next day. So, yeah, and then they need the aircraft in Frankfurt, right? Yeah, very intense. Not gonna lie, that was indeed very intense. You'd buy my book. Yeah, I'll have to see. The thing is, though, the good thing is, people always ask me, have you had any really emergencies and so on? I didn't have emergencies. I had a pan, but that was because of severe icing over the Alps. I mean, I never called Mayday, and I never had an engine failure. When was this? 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Lee? Okay, well, medical, yeah. I mean, but you don't call in Mayday for that. You call in ATC and say you got a medical emergency. So it's not a Mayday per se. No, right. What do you mean, like for passengers? Medical issues or myself? No, I didn't have any medical issues either in my life. Luckily enough, so. Monitos, it would have been. So the reason is that I had an issue with the the dog poo in the aft cargo compartment is that there have been cases where they loaded some things into the cargo hold, and then for some reason, because of the way the recirculation fans work or recirculation system works, some of the odors got into the aft cabin, and then passengers were somewhat worried about the smell, right? So my thought was, because the smell was so intense that it was at least 2 of the loaders had already thrown up. It was so bad, that smell, that you had to do something. And I just had the picture in my mind. If I fly with this in this situation, it was a 3-hour flight, and then suddenly in flight you had that smell in the cabin, and then people throwing up. I mean, that would have made the news for sure. And then having to divert somewhere, yeah, that would have been in the newspapers 100%. So yeah, I had to take care of that for sure. Cool. Alrighty. So I think you're up for another flight, right? Shall we do a quick restart? We can stay here in the sim. I'll leave the aircraft as it is, but I have to restart the stream for the title on YouTube. Is it? Oh, the KLM pick. Yeah. Yoda, exactly. Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah. Yeah, I had to divert for sick passengers. Yeah. One of the, I can't name exactly what they had for the situation, but I mean, I had some really hefty medical emergencies, and one of them was really time critical, and yeah, it's intense. It's intense because, again, if it happens, so for us, that very intense medical emergency happened while we're already in the descent towards Frankfurt, when the whole situation got really, really bad really quickly. And then I handed over everything again to the first officer, and he did another tremendous job. However, while I was organizing everything with the station, with the tower or the ATC regarding medical assistance, cabin crew briefing, because I had to tell, for example, organize what happens to the passenger, because the passenger was in the aft galley, and the passenger was not able to be sitting on their seat because doctors were attending, and they couldn't move that passenger to the seat, so we had to take care of that passenger. But I also had to take care of the cabin crew and the doctors to make sure they're safe for touchdown, right? So I had to organize things for that. So, but I remember that I was looking at the nav display, and we got straight in 25 center in Frankfurt, and I mean, we were doing 300 knots indicated in 5,000 feet, screaming towards the ILS, and I was like, right now I have no idea when to start the deceleration, right? Normally I plot, right? Normally as a pilot monitoring, I plot everything the pilot flying is doing. So I have my plan, especially as a captain. I have my plan, when to decelerate, when to start getting flaps out, etc., to be established, within the stabilization criteria. But here I was like, when do we start slowing down? And I was like, you got this under control? Question mark. And he said, yeah. And he said, where are you going to slow down? And he said, well, I don't know, 16 miles. And I was like, yeah, but just make sure we don't go around because we're not established, right? And he said, yeah, don't worry. I said, okay. But he managed. I mean, he slowed down perfectly. Everything was stable in 1,000 feet, all good. But man, that was fast. That was such a fast approach. But it's nice to see. It's great to see how everybody works together in this case, is to save one life, right? So, we landed, taxied off the runway. We got a parking spot right next to the runway there. Stopped the aircraft, shut down the engines. Fire brigade was there with the stairs. The ambulances were there. You know, within a couple of seconds, like after we shut down the engines, the stairs were there, doors were open, and we could attend for the passenger, right? So really well organized. So that's great to see. Yeah. What happened to the pigs? I mean, Yoda would have to tell that one. But you know, Yoda, I remember that story because I remember that very well because I thought, isn't it strange that you have pigs on board a passenger flight? Because I always thought they would have them only on cargo flights, right? So yeah, I was surprised to hear that. Interesting. Cool. Okay, guys, I'll do a 5-minute stop here, okay? Again, on Twitch it's not a problem, but on YouTube I have to do a cut and then for the next flight so that the videos are separated. So I'll be back again in 5 minutes, and I'm sure I've got some more stories to tell if you're interested. And we're flying from here to Dortmund. Alrighty. See you in a few minutes, guys. Thank you so much. Let me see. Where's my outro button there? Here we go. See you in a few minutes.